All right, good afternoon, friends. Welcome to our earnings live coverage. Good afternoon, Peter. How are you this morning? How are you this afternoon?
I'm still doing great.
Awesome, man. Good. Glad to hear that, my friend. Also, welcome to Jared. Jared's also with us today as we get ready to talk about some more mega caps here with Amazon and Apple. And we also threw in Coinbase. That one seems to be a little bit interesting, so looking forward to see how that does. And it can trade well. It's one of the companies that I think we should have on here. And Jared said, yeah, let's throw that on there. I think it'll be good to talk about. So, all right. With that, friends, let's jump right in. So we'll start with Amazon. Does that make sense for us, for everybody, or Apple?
Sure.
Which you want to start with,
Amazon?
Peter?
How about that? They have earnings first. So why don't we do that? In
right.
order they will appear. We could do that. So, Amazon, been a lot of talk about Amazon over the last little while. As you probably remember, this quarter has been pretty busy for them. There has been a lot of stuff happening in formal news and then in rumor with Amazon. From an earnings perspective, they're expected, as usual, to beat their numbers. Obviously, the big focus is going to be on their AI services. Amazon Web Services are expected to grow fairly significantly to deliver about, a big part of the $178 billion worth of revenue that they're expected to deliver. They're also expected, bottom line, to deliver about $1.58 per share. So I think that should be achievable. I mean, it's tough to say. Analysts generally believe that they should overachieve it. If you remember, we had a big Amazon outage just a week, or was it last? I think it was even just last week, wasn't it? But remember, that doesn't count in these results, so it doesn't really matter. And not that that would have an immediate financial impact. We might see an impact for that next quarter, but that really has nothing to do with the earnings they're going to be talking about here today. They're probably going to get questions about it at the analyst call, but I don't expect that to directly affect the earnings outcome. As you can see, Amazon has been sort of trending in this price zone, a relatively tight zone, I can say, over the last 3 or 4 months, really between about 212 or 210 if you want to do the low side, but I look at it from 212 to about 232. It has spiked out of the top of that a little bit and occasionally below it, but not by much. I honestly think that we are probably going to stay within that range. However, we're going to let Jared, give us better perspective on that and what the actual move range looks like from where we're sitting now at roughly $224.50 for a price. Is it going to be active? This is a tough one, I find, to after hours trade because the volumes. They're usually there right as the earnings are announced, which is supposed to be right at 4 o'clock, by the way, right? So closing bell, and we're supposed to see Amazon's results. We'll see if that happens. Maybe Jared can remember. I don't know if they usually come out right on schedule or not. I think they do, but I don't really remember. So Jared, maybe you
Yeah,
can give us some of that detail.
yeah, I'm trying to remember. I believe it was pretty much on time because if I recall, we looked at the previous Amazon earnings and it didn't give us too much initial, like we had to jump into it quicker, and that was kind of a nice thing. We got to wait for the right announcement time. So,
Right. Do you?
okay. Okay, cool. So it's also my turn. So, all right. So now that Peter's gone over the technicals, I'm gonna do like I did yesterday and go over the expected move. If you were here yesterday, you remember that we looked over a couple of stocks and their expected moves. Fortunately, we were able to see quite a few expected moves being tested yesterday, so we're kind of hoping for some similar results, and we can use some of the clues we saw yesterday to help us trade these stocks today. So I've gone ahead and marked Amazon's expected move on my chart, and you'll notice it's about plus or minus 15 points. That is about a, let's see, it's probably about a 6 to 7% move in total for Amazon. And the price ranges bring it either to 240 if we were to move $15 higher, 210 if we were to move $15 lower. Everything else is going to just kind of be inside of this much larger trading range that Peter pointed out from the previous earnings drop. So, there's always reference points we can kind of use on the chart. I would say the last earnings did create some downside on Amazon's price. Right now, we're entering into that sort of gapped up area, and that is resistance right now. 240 would be an all-time high test. So we have a little bit more left to go before we can say Amazon has cleared its all-time high. And then as you can see, 210, a little bit under the daily price support, but there's probably some hourly or some overnight trade that gets a little bit closer to 210. Kind of depends on if you open up a overnight chart. You can actually see the previous earnings was a 242 print. So the highest print we've seen this year on Amazon is about 242, except for the first couple of months of the year. So definitely bulls are looking for something akin to like a breakout. And if we just get a range run, we're going to be looking for those upper and lower boundaries. As a quick reminder, just where am I getting this number from? That way we have it for the next two. I'm getting this expected move from the option market. It is the short-term options, so the weekly options expiring on Friday. And this is what the option market is suggesting risk for the stock to be over the next day. And in this case, it's pretty much all going to be about earnings. So pretty accurate numbers. We saw a lot of that yesterday. We're going to try our best to see if the market wants to respect them today. And we have some technical boundaries to pair with it. Back to you, Peter.
All right. I like it. It's like a news report. All right, reporting to you live here from the field. All right, so let's talk Coinbase. That's the second one. And timing. I think their earnings are supposed to come out at 4:10 today. So this is an interesting one to me because Coinbase also has relatively high expectations. Coinbase is expected to deliver about $1.7 billion of revenue, which obviously is, like 1% of what Amazon's going to be delivering. And they are expected to give us about $1.13 in earnings per share. So bottom line. What's more interesting is where are the expectations? Because I think they've actually risen since those numbers were put together. There was a whole lot of upward looking guidance that happened over the course of the last 48 hours. They got upgrades from H.C. Wainwright, J.P. Morgan, a couple of other Mizuho securities, all sort of increased their targets or raised their guidance, saying that they're now a buy versus a hold. And I think that, for instance, this morning, if you were following along with us at the pre-market show with Carlos and I, we talked about MasterCard that had their earnings, and they were investing in a company. I'm trying to remember what the name was, a crypto company, Zero Hub or something like that, whatever it was called, Zero Hash. And that actually, the fact that, again, the major credit card companies are looking at these crypto settlement payment companies and paying billions of dollars. MasterCard paid $2 billion to buy Zero Hash. Actually validates Coinbase's business model, right? And a lot of the stuff that they've been spending money expanding into. So I think there's an expectation, despite the fact that crypto prices haven't been high. Remember, Coinbase makes their money off of the activity. They want to see churn. They want to see you trading in those accounts. And it doesn't directly matter if the prices go up or down. Obviously it does. The more they go up, the more the interest there is, usually the more activity you get, right? So that's good. However, they've been actively looking to diversify their offerings to provide, different offerings to different people depending on what they're looking to do. So I think Coinbase could be an interesting one. I have never watched this post market, so I have no idea what to expect. I can't imagine the volume is going to be very high. The average daily volume is only about 9 million shares. on a regular day. And right now, if I look at the trading coming into or towards the close, we only have 6 million shares. I think it's going to be pretty light after hours, but it might be an interesting play for tomorrow if you keep an eye on it. That being said, I could be totally wrong. We could get an awesome move on this. So let's talk about what that move might look like. Jared,
Awesome.
over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter. So, for Coinbase, technicals are a little, I would say, sloppy, but there's another identifiable trading range on this one. And once again, it happens to relate to the prior earnings. If you look back on, let's see, this would be August 1st. Coinbase had its earnings overnight gap down, and that created a fairly large trading gap on the chart. We've been trading around this area, and we even saw the price sort of fill up that earnings gap. But ever since then, we fell right back in, and we're struggling to get back out of this overall area one more time. So there's a little bit of, I would say, like a failed attempt to move higher, along with some general like short-term resistance coming in, both last week and into today with all the sell pressure. But really, it just puts us back into a larger, I would say, like balanced area for the price. The expected move on this stock is plus or minus 23 to 25. It's fluctuating a little bit right now. And pretty much since the share price is sitting at about 332, as low as 330, I'm trying to estimate whether I should use, a slightly higher price or 330 for the closing. But no matter where this stock closes, I'm going to be looking plus or minus 25. So if we move 25 points higher, assuming we close at 330, it'll be about 355. And same assumption, if we move down 25 points, it'll be 305 from a 330 close. Looking at Coinbase's overall potential for movement, this is approximately plus or minus, I want to say maybe 8%, might be 7.5%, 8%. Not super elevated. We've seen higher readings for Coinbase's volatility, usually in periods of high activity in the first place. If you kind of go back and look at some of the previous, I would say, run-ups on coin, it can get very volatile very quickly. And we've had sessions that are just as wide as this earnings announcement. So, the stock can certainly move this amount very quickly. More importantly, I'll be looking for something akin to a technical breakout, or if we get to the edges and go nowhere, or just fill 300 specifically, um, might not be able to move out just yet, just because it's not got the volume that it used to have at the middle of the year. So that's all I got for Coinbase. 25-point expected move. Back to you.
All right. So that leads us to our third and final target for today, Apple. So, and maybe before I get there, guys,
Peter?
I'll just remind you. What? We good? All
It's
right.
just Brian
Oh,
joining in. Hello,
go ahead.
Brian.
Oh, hey, Brian.
Yeah, I was
You're on.
just
I'll just remind everybody
just gonna-
there is a whole slate of earnings. Go to tradingterminal.com and you can find all the earnings because we've got MSTR, Reddit, Western Digital, Roku, Twilio, Zillow, Riot, and a whole bunch more. So there's a ton of earnings out there. We're just focusing on these top three, but we'll see what others happen along the way. But let's focus on Apple. It's the last of the three that we were going to talk about specifically. And Apple, what can I say? It's sitting at all-time highs. We are absolutely sort of it's been surprising me anyways in its rise as how well it's doing. A lot of expectations I think are built into this, which unlike the others, I think they're going to disappoint. This is just Peter's opinion here, but it's going to be hard for them to hit the target numbers and achieve what all the analysts are expecting of them. What is that expectation? Well, they're looking at about $101 billion of revenue and a buck 73. So is that right? Yeah, that's right. So that's I mean that's achievable, but I just think that they're not going to overachieve that. A lot of the growth in the stock or appreciation in the stock price in the last little while has been driven by the news that their new iPhone has been selling more than anticipated, and they've got some new features that have got people upgrading and buying new phones. Mike in our chat room has told us about how he's upgraded to get that voice feature. I love how they say, look, this here, I love that, the iPhone Air, the thinnest iPhone ever. Only if you don't measure the whole bulbous camera thing, right? So, anyways, they're doing the marketing. Some people had some great graphics about that, about what the thinnest ever, and then something with a big bubble on it. In any event, whatever, it's marketing, but that's not going to show a lot in their earnings, right? Don't forget, this is earnings for the past quarter, so a lot of that is not going to reflect, I think, in the increased sales, and as such, we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see the big numbers that people are expecting. The other thing we have to keep in mind is that Apple is one of those that is expected to be investing heavily in AI. And this is a double-edged sword, right? Because they want you to put a lot of money into AI, but the market also doesn't want you to put a lot of money because it's an outgoing expenditure that they're not exactly sure how you're going to recoup. So we have to keep in mind that, whereas, like Amazon and Microsoft, for example, have very similar revenues. They're almost identical in terms of revenue. But Microsoft is spending in this year $35 billion on AI, whereas Apple is only, the consensus out of FactSet is that Apple's going to report that they're only spending about 3.7 billion, which is 10% of what Microsoft is spending. So it's one of those where, everybody's concerned they're behind, but, if they came out and said we're spending 10 billion, people will get worried about how much they're throwing in suddenly. So I'm not sure where it's going to go, but all in all, my expectation is Apple's hard pressed, I think, to continue to push the all-time highs. We'll see. 4:30, a little bit of a late release on that one. All right, we're coming up to the 10-minute mark. I got to watch my 1 to 10 trade. Jared, why don't we talk expected move?
All right, I'll let Peter focus on that. And for Apple, it's a little easier on the technicals. We've not really been in this area before, Apple making new all-time highs over the past couple of sessions. You'll note that this is also a very quick change in, I would say, the overall perception of whether or not we have all of our mega market caps moving to those new price tiers. I mentioned yesterday how Nvidia making 5 trillion. We had stocks like Microsoft defending 4 trillion, actually losing it on earnings. And then now we have Apple, which also, after this move up, sits at a whopping $4 trillion market cap. That was only achieved a couple of days ago, approximately $270 a share. So I would say similar to what we did with Microsoft, you might want to consider the over under on the market cap perspective, because that would be about 270, whether we move up or down from that price. But the expected move is priced out at approximately plus or minus 9.5. Like always, you can kind of round up a little bit, but try not to round up too much because that adds another 10% to the movement. For a stock like Apple, this is going to be, I'm looking at maybe it closing at 272. It's kind of hard to tell right now, but it's fluctuating a little bit near 271, 272. And if you add and subtract 9.5, you get 281.5 and 262.5, just depending on where you kind of anchor your closing price. So we're assuming a 272 close for those numbers. For a stock like Apple, tends to respect expected move fairly well. We've had some notable, I would say, high volatility motions after Apple's earnings, but these were not related to the expected move. So if you look back in August, for example, we actually kind of stayed very close to the price. The next day we moved, and then a couple days later we had more of a catalytic event on the stock itself. So always good to kind of, review how the stock moves throughout its earnings. This one in particular, we're expecting normal volatility. And if you look at those numbers, if we see something like we did with Alphabet, will target that upper expected move, and it was basically a perfect hit. We even saw a little bit over like 299 today on the stock. If we move to the downside, we're actually just kind of back testing the old all-time highs. And, we just broke out, so it'd be unfortunate to backtest this soon, but that's not too much downside when your stock is basically at new price levels. So just kind of keep all that in mind if you're deciding to take a position, and that would equate to about that's a pretty low volatility reading, plus or minus 9.5. It's, maybe 4%, maybe a little bit higher. Not too much volatility for the stock. So, Brian, did you want to take a look at anything on Apple?
No, I don't think so. Peter already mentioned that we're looking for about $1.73 earnings per share, 101 million, 0.3 billion in revenue. So yeah, I mean the reports um, have been that the iPhone 17 has been extremely well received, way better than the 16. So I'm not sure how much of those numbers are going to show up in this report, but yeah, it's Apple seems to be finding some traction here.
Perfect. Well, last 5 minutes, I guess we're just going to
Yeah.
start getting set up for the actual release. And go ahead and Peter, remind us of the times again for the three stocks we're watching.
Yeah, absolutely. So Amazon should be released right at 4 o'clock. So as the closing bell rings, we should see the first reports of Amazon's numbers. Expect some rapid movement. Coinbase is going to come out at 4:10, and then Apple is scheduled at 4:30. So we got a little bit of a gap before we see Apple, and in between, we've got a whole bunch of the other stuff I was talking about. MSTR, if anybody's looking for something else to trade right at the close, MSTR is supposed to have earnings right at 4 as well. That's MicroStrategy. So. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we got time wise. I did try a 1 to 10 on Microsoft. I got in, got a partial, and then stopped out. So it didn't, and it popped up here, but didn't give me a great 1 to 10 move. Now, you saucy minx, you're going to move down, are you? Maybe not. Anyways, it's,
Yeah, the market's ever since we got into the afternoon trading around 2 o'clock. We just started to really sort of selling started to accelerate here. So
It's been
yeah.
a lot of weakness. I mean, I'm even looking at Google now, giving a lot of the gains back from today. So it's yeah, everything I have on my list is red.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't found any trades as I was mentioning this afternoon. Things were just not in my range. I need them to go to highs or lows, and everything's just been mid-range. I mean, Carlos, if you look at Nvidia, I mean, when you and I last spoke about 7 hours ago, no, sorry, 5 hours ago at 10:30-ish, we're at the same price.
I know. Yep.
So
Yep.
hasn't gone anywhere.
Sounds like a balanced market to me.
Yeah, it's
They love to keep it sideways sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
well, the market's actually, we've had some pretty high concentration of or at least really slim breadth. I mean, we had a gain in the markets with very little stocks actually going up. It's just been the heavyweights that have been really dragging this market out so up. So maybe with the Dow um, looking a little more positive than the Qs and the SPYs today, and maybe that's showing that we're getting at least a little bit of widening of the breadth here.
Back into the rotational aspect of trying to figure out which sectors are going to hold the market together each session. A
Exactly.
little bit
Yeah.
better than trading a bunch of correlation where everything's moving at once. But yeah, I agree.
Mm. It is kind of funny. We do have a sector of the of technology that does seem to be rallying today, and that's um, the quantum stocks. We've got Rigetti and Qubits up today. They're green. So
Yeah. It's a splattering, but I also see
yeah,
that UUBT is down, Ion Q is down a little
yeah,
bit, and there's
yeah,
actually been some new faces in the quantum groups. It's just not they're not very heavily traded yet, so
yeah.
our normal assets are carrying the load right now. I was actually curious to see how the
Um,
rare earth stocks did today because you and I were both looking at CRML, and
yeah,
I finally came off the ground after a little bit of downside pressure on initial position.
yeah. That's selling a little bit into the close here too. Everything seems to be kind of leaking off here, except maybe Nvidia's kind of holding up.
Nvidia's holding, yeah. And I mean,
Yeah,
Apple's just moving
IONQ.
sideways, but that's not unexpected going into earnings.
Okay, so Amazon is moving down slightly from 225. You could maybe consider adjusting the expected move. Otherwise, I'll just keep mine at the 225 center line. But normally, if I see a significant move into the close, I might adjust my expected move to go with it. So still plus or minus 25, just not the same center price.
Is it
Coin's looking to be at 330, Apple pretty much at 272.
now Apple's plus or minus, sorry, Amazon plus or minus 15, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I keep saying 25, 15
Yeah,
for Amazon. Hmm.
yeah.
Sorry.
All right, well, we're almost there, about 15 seconds, and we'll see how accurate they are to release right at the close. Again, there's no guarantee the numbers will come out right then, and it's always hard when things close right at the bell because you never quite know if that's just the last gasp on the day
Yeah, here
or
we
is
go. Ding, ding,
earnings
ding,
starting.
ding,
So
ding,
there's
ding.
the bell, and so far, nothing. Not, so far, not much. Oh, let me bring Amazon up nice and big so everybody can see. Oh no, what did I just do? I grabbed the wrong chart.
So that's the first one today, right? Amazon, you mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay. Yesterday we got them more early. It was like 4:05, but they all came in a little bit earlier than that. So they played nice
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah. It's no volume yet. No nothing. So
Mm.
hmm. The other one that was supposed to be right at the close here was MSTR. So what's happening? Did they forget? Fell asleep. Oh, there it is. There's Amazon. You know when it happens.
Oh yeah, can't miss that.
Ammo.
Hmm.
Okay. So, all right.
Likely moving into this
Wow.
week's high. 234 is this week's high, and we're clearing. Expected move at 240. So far, so good for the bulls. John in our moderation team is very, very happy to see this reaction as long as it holds.
Oh, did he take a position in it?
Well, he's been owning Amazon for quite a while. He just wants to see a new all-time
Okay.
high.
Yeah, all-time high.
Okay.
There we go. It's up a little here.
Yep.
Well,
Seeing if we can
all-time
get
high here
some.
is 242.52. So, oh, it just did spike higher than that.
Yeah,
So
it's just got it.
Amazon's numbers are out. 195 was the EPS versus 158 expected, and sales were 180.17 versus the 170, call it 178 that was expected. So bit of a beat on the top line. Much much bigger, or yeah, much bigger beat on the EPS. Real big beat on EPS.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
probably good enough for a new all-time high then, because we've broken
Yeah.
the expected move and we're breaking the actual all-time high price.
You, and then that's a good point actually. The Amazon also announced that despite their record activity, they are laying off quite a number of employees. They said that the AI investment is starting to pay off with improved efficiency, which has helped their numbers. And they said, hey, they actually released a statement, one of their executives, to say, so why are we laying off people when things are going so well? Well, because we've created so much efficiency that we don't need as many people and it can go even better, is more or less, I'm paraphrasing, but that's more or less what she said. So that's interesting. That's what the market wants to hear, right? As much as it may frighten you as an employee or out in the economy, that's what the markets want to hear from all these AI investments, right? That they're driving efficiency and that they're creating more profitable companies.
Mhm.
So
So is that what she said, Peter?
that's what she said. Yes, indeed. Well done. Ba-dum-ba.
Yeah, so this is a record high for Amazon. I was also looking at its market cap because this is a stock that's maybe in kind of like the lower portion of the mega market caps. It's a $2.3 trillion company. This is probably going to bolster it to about 2.5 plus if we remain in this upper range. So I'm sure a lot of trade tomorrow will be focused on whether we can hold this altitude and maybe find some support where those old resistances were, or just continue in a very strong gap up open. So far so good on the breakout side. Surprised we don't have John in the chat room saying I told you so. But he might show up later.
Chirping away.
Yeah.
We need his chirping.
Hey, I'm also, somewhat interested in this company moving to new highs. So I think it's a notch to those who are looking to invest in strong companies getting stronger. Amazon is one of the well-known leaders of the industry at this time. So now we are waiting on coin, correct?
Coin, yep.
That was a lot of fun. Hopefully everybody got their expected move target and obviously a little bit more with the breakout. So always good to see a breach. Some
Yeah.
people are calling out Reddit as well, moving
Yes.
pretty violently here.
Reddit was also reporting, you're right.
I believe in the chat room, people were saying about a $27 expected move. So I didn't get a chance to verify that, but I believe them. 28 according to my platform. Let y'all do the math.
Amazon's really holding well here.
Mhm.
And I'm got my finger on the trigger because I just don't know if if my stop is actually going to work. I haven't tested stops after hours in a long time. Theory they shouldn't.
No. So stop losses do not work because they trigger as market orders, and market orders do not work after hours. So once again, you will have to exit on limit, and you will have to manually exit or set some sort of stop limit only at a price.
There you go. All right. I got out. I'm not going to play games with this. You're right. My order, it took my order, but it didn't stop. So, oh, sorry. I took my orders off. I can't, I don't understand why I can't trade long, but here you can see I actually tried to go short on Amazon way up here. And
Mhm.
took a
Yeah.
little,
Here's,
like a buck 50 partial off of that. And then
here's
I said,
big
you know what?
balls.
I'm not going to wait around because this thing could
That's
could
why they
spike
call them.
higher. I don't want to take.
That's why you call them big balls.
Yeah, you bet. I'll take it. I'm not, yeah, I'm not going to play around too much with this thing, but I just thought I'd try. It looked like it was faltering up there. I got a little nervous when it was spiking 248. I had to be out on this thing, so,
Mhm.
but it stayed right
So we
below it.
got so we had Reddit drop initially, and now it's going up.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah,
Reddit. Oh, I don't have Reddit on this. Yeah.
quite
What were the
volatile.
numbers on Reddit? I gotta know because the Magic 8 Ball called Reddit. We had a question in the room of the Magic 8 Ball. Was Reddit going to beat their numbers? And the Magic 8 Ball said it is decidedly so.
Oh, nice.
See, I
Okay,
don't see.
well,
Do you have Reddit's
I'm
numbers there,
still
Brian?
I'm looking for Reddit's numbers right now.
Yeah, I don't see them. There's
They were
so
looking
many
for earnings of
earnings.
52 cents.
So Roku, their earnings are out. Looks like they saw their sales higher. So that's good for Roku. Western Digital, their numbers are out. Earnings per share. Looks like they increased their guidance in the next quarter. Oh, here it is. Roku. Roku beat, yeah, beat earnings and beat on the bottom line. So good number for Roku.
Roku's showing some technical resistance at about 103. I had a previous sharp reaction there marked off, and looks like it broke some
Oh,
local supports on the drop there. So a little volatile in the ranges that are defined.
wow, Reddit's been a roller coaster here. Down at 180, up at 220, back down to 195.
Let's see, do we have
Hang on
Coinbase out at
to
this
your
time?
hat on that one.
Yeah, Coin. I don't see Coin's numbers out. They're also their stock price hasn't gone very far. It did pop up here at 405. It's dropped down a little bit.
So
Oh, I
so
should have held on
Amazon's
to
numbers
Amazon.
did impact the market. It both the SPY and the Qs popped up
Hmm.
significantly after we got those numbers released. So maybe a bit of a positive for the market tomorrow morning.
Oh well, I'll take my couple of bucks on Amazon and be happy for it.
Yeah, they're giving the back
It's
they're giving the back test already, the all-time high back test.
yeah, it's I can't it's a crazy thing. I just can't help trading
So
It's a
short
tough
those
trade,
all-time
Peter.
highs.
That's a tough trade, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if you use marketable limit orders or marketable hotkeys, those would fill the limit
The
side.
the
But you need
hotkeys
to,
work. Yeah,
yeah,
I
you
can
need
use
to
my
make sure that you have enough range when you're trying
right.
to execute.
Right.
So,
My regular hotkeys to get in and out seem to work. It's just when I put in the actual, normally my stop order is a market order because if it hits my stop, I just want out.
mm,
So yeah, those don't work, but my hotkeys work, which get me in and out
Yeah.
of the trade. So that's never been a problem after hours. That's usually all I use anyways. I'm not
yeah.
leaving an order and walking away after hours. That's insanity. Anything could go wrong.
So
That would be
we have some
crazy.
kind of breaking news here on Netflix, apparently. They're
Oh,
just reporting a 10 for 1 stock split
really?
on
Oh,
Netflix.
Did you make this up? No, you wouldn't do
No,
that.
no. It's
interesting.
they're trying to
Oh,
take
look
the
at this.
limelight away from all these other
Yeah,
earnings.
look at
Yeah.
this. Look at the stock. But now, that being said, I mean, this is if it's a 10 for 1 stock split, that means this $40 move is only a $4 move.
And
Well, that's what it'll
that's what it
eventually
will
be.
be. Yeah.
But still, it's 4%,
Event-
which is not, well, not even, I
Eventually.
guess. Yeah, not even because
Wow.
it's really only 30, I guess, from the 35 from the close. Anyways, whatever it is. Yeah, Netflix got a little pump. Pretty low volume though on this, so
Hmm.
a lot of people. Oh, here it is. I just see the news. Look at you. Effective November 9th, 17th. Sorry, November 17th. So that'll be something to keep in mind, Carlos. I mean, I'm sure it'll come up again as we get closer to that. But that's awesome because Netflix has been a tough one to trade. As soon as you get a stock in the $1,000 range, it's just harder to trade. We've seen
Yeah.
that with all
Yeah.
sorts of stocks, including Google, that used to be there. The Tesla, of course, has been there a couple of times. And I like this. I like a 10 for 1, puts it right back into the $100 range.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that should hopefully increase the trading interest in it, which is good for us intraday.
Yes.
2 weeks.
Yeah. Should be
Well,
fun.
3 weeks we have to wait basically until that happens. So,
It does appear that coins numbers are out.
oh,
We
what's that?
have Q3 adjusted 144 beating 111 estimate on
Yeah.
EPS. And sales 1.869 billion beating the 1.795 billion. So
Okay.
that's a
There you
double
go.
beat for coin. Stock is moving up slightly here. Still got some room if we continue to expected. Not a lot of volume, not a lot of like drive on this move. It's not as excitable as Amazon was. So notable difference in the activity on coin.
And I can report that Reddit's numbers are out. So, Sarif, who asked, the Magic 8 Ball, once again has proven to be its prophetic self. That's prophetic, not pathetic. Very different. And yes, it said if it's going to beat, it said it is decidedly so. And they did beat on sales, delivering 585 million versus 545, and they beat on bottom line earnings by actually 22 cents, delivering 28 cents, delivering 80 cents earnings versus a 52-cent estimate. So there you go, Magic 8 Ball, another win for the
Yeah, that was
Magic
a
8 Ball.
pretty decent beat.
Yeah. So.
Oh shit.
It is decidedly so. All right, so we've got that recorded, and the Magic 8 Ball is now batting 58% accuracy on its predictions.
Hmm.
So there you go. In case anybody's tracking. I know sometimes people ask for the stats. This is over 139 predictions, by the way, dating back to when we first brought it into the family here in October of 2020. So, wow, it's been 5 years. 5 year birthday here. It's past its 5 year birthday, and we didn't celebrate. Welcome, Magic 8 Ball. Congratulations.
We didn't know. We didn't know.
5 years of
So
birthday.
I'm looking at Coinbase, and first things first is trying to get out of its own session range. It actually had quite a bit of selling today, so clearing this would be a nice engulfing look. Still looking for the expected, but just because it's moving a bit slower, it must be struggling with some liquidity here, some sell pressure. But so far so good. They're still advancing the price. I'm looking for any rejections at the highs here. So far we are clearing them, or at least running. We're
Yeah.
running the session range. Oh, man, that was fast. But I would have expected a little bit quicker move on coin. Pretty noteworthy to be more volatile than this overnight. I'd have to maybe take a look back at the prior earnings. I'm wondering if more motion occurred on the conference call. Maybe the initial reaction was small and the conference call was big. I'm not sure.
Quite possible.
But it's always better when it just all happens in one fast, excitable motion. That way we can hit the fence line really quickly and call it successful.
Speaking of that, we have. Oh no, is it? No, is it tomorrow? Tomorrow's the next game of the World Series, aren't they? It's a travel day today, right?
These are
Yeah, that's
questions for
correct.
someone who's interested.
I don't.
That is correct, Peter.
Yes, all right. So Halloween could be the last game of the World Series or not. One way or the other, the World Series will be decided here in Canada. Oh,
Yep.
all right. I'm gonna let you guys do Apple. Being that I've got Peak Capital Trading, by the way. So my boot camp team, our team meeting is at 4:30. For anybody not familiar, go to peakcapitaltrading.com. You can check it out. We run these boot camps 3 times a year. It's an opportunity to accelerate your trading journey if you want sort of a really pretty intensive course. Those 3 months are, I mean, there's so much activity happening. We keep those people very busy, but it's a worthwhile investment in your trading future if you're sort of trying to figure out how to get going and don't feel structured. So check it out, P Capital Trading. There's my ad for you. But I'm off to talk to my group. I'll let you guys handle. Don't forget one of the big ones, Apple, coming up here. 4:30's numbers should be released in a few minutes. So good luck with that. I had my one trade. Hey, look, I traded after hours, so
Mhm.
I had some. So at least I could say I tried. So I'm good.
Good deal.
All right. Have a good
Take
one.
Take a
care,
shot.
Peter.
All
Love
right.
it.
See you, Peter.
Hmm. So now we get to kind of just sit on our hands for a little bit and let the sultry tones of Brian and I try and figure out what's next for Apple.
Let the good times roll.
Yeah,
So Reddit's what is Reddit? Reddit's still down on the day, but it's up compared to where it closed, down from previous day.
quite volatile.
Apple's been slowly sort of creeping up here in the aftermarket. Like people are maybe a little bit more optimistic about Apple given Amazon's report. So maybe people are positioning themselves. Amazon's hanging around 245, back near the high.
Yeah, it's kind of it's not as if we've had all mega market caps move up. The notable names that have dropped have been Netflix and Microsoft and Meta. If you look at Meta today, it's still technically down from its earnings announcement. Had a bit of a bounce session, but was down almost twice the expected move. So you combine that with Microsoft, which, we did move down on Microsoft, not significantly, and it was very much inside of its range, but wasn't really a move to the upside. So I'm kind of looking at Apple and trying to see if it looks anything like Alphabet, which was breaking all-time highs and additionally continued into the after hours. So as far as like a technical pattern, I'd want to see Apple look like Alphabet. If not, then, I'm definitely looking at that 262 area for Apple to fall back to. Because it really would be just a back test of the all-time high, the old one. But I don't think we'll have too much else to really chew on the next couple of minutes, unless Apple graces us with an early announcement. Start looking around. We have stocks like MSTR also reporting. Let's see. Just kind of looking back at our calendar here on tradingterminal.com. We have Gilead Sciences, kind of a health biotech type. Surprisingly decent to trade, actually. It's not a bad one. It's got volume. We have Net or Cloudflare. That's also coming out. Looks like it reported. And we have Team, Atlassian
Mhm.
Corporation. Um, I also wanted to double check RKT, Rocket Company, is kind of an old favorite, but
Yeah,
lower price
rockets.
stock
Yeah.
these days. So a lot of these stocks go in and out of favor over time, you'll notice. Usually we trade things for anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple months, and then you can almost forget that they exist as a company just because volume really starts to dwindle as a trade, moves to different parts of the market.
Yeah, so true, man. We go through these phases on some of these tickers. Some stay
Hmm.
on forever. Feels like these tech companies have been on
Yeah.
forever. Um, but yeah.
Yeah. I
Did
usually
did
find
Coinbase
it's
did Coinbase report already? Did you guys have those numbers out? I missed it.
yeah,
Okay,
Coinbase
so not
reported.
big reaction on it so far.
Yeah.
No, Coinbase's numbers were, well, I did have them posted. Let's see. That was 1.44 EPS, beat of 1.11. So
Okay,
a very
nice.
significant beat on EPS, almost like I want to say that's almost 25, maybe 28% beat.
Yep.
And then the sales look like approximately a like 5 or 6% beat, Well, maybe
Oh,
7.
nice.
So pretty good.
Yes, good.
So, but yeah, not much of a move. Not always do we get to the expected. I usually can only really comment on, are we going to it? Are we breaching? And then if it's anything lower, I just kind of chalk it up as a low volatility reaction. But you'd be
I'm
surprised if
screwing
you leave
around.
on the expected moves, it could still move to those prices later. It could still be something for tomorrow.
I'm screwing around with the market makers on Rigetti.
Uh-oh.
I just uh I just put in a small bid just to see what would happen, and immediately everyone jumped in front of me. I was the high bid for about 1 nanosecond.
Hmm.
I just threw that up there just to see what would happen.
Let's see. Yeah, you can normally do that on the option market too. You can have
Yeah,
your bid be a slightly higher than the lower bid, and eventually
someone
see if
jumped.
they tighten the spread for it. You can
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
create the market spread. Just
yeah.
depends.
That was funny. Rigetti is still pretty active after hours here. It's kind of interesting because it's breaking out of a bit of a consolidation range here. So it could be a little spicy tomorrow.
Yeah, one thing I'm challenged with as a day trader is actually having too much to look at a lot of times. Like earnings brings
Yeah.
in all these new tickers that you want to trade, and then you get your normal volatility day by day or just something you're more familiar with. At a certain point, it's just you can't get them all, so you have to really identify, like, are you a post earnings trader during this time, or are you even looking at those
Yeah,
stocks? Because most day traders just want to do the same thing over and over, and earnings isn't all the
exactly.
time. So you
Yeah,
have
that's a
Yep.
to
good point.
really pick and choose.
We saw that yesterday, right? Yesterday,
Mhm.
sorry, this morning. Well, earnings yesterday, this morning, coming to this morning.
Yeah,
There's so many tickers. I mean, it's like, which one do you watch, right? Um,
exactly. It clouds the gappers list a lot, and you get sympathy moves too. Those are
yeah,
always like more stocks to watch because Roku goes up and, Disney is a streaming service, so Disney goes up and, it's like you start wondering if you should trade the leader or the sympathy play. And
Yeah.
we saw it with
The-
like Visa and MasterCard. They often have like post sympathy moves. So there's so much to consider
yeah.
outside of even the intraday part, but it's just a lot to watch. Need more hands, need more eyes, need more counts to take trades on.
More buying power and
Yeah, yeah.
everything. But it is
Pump those
tough
numbers
because
up.
even this morning, like if you look at the ones we were watching, front and center, Microsoft and Meta and these other ones, they were tough trades, man.
Hmm.
And you could tell because a lot of people were having a rough time. Like even Andrew had a rough day today, at least in the morning session. Things got a little
Yeah,
bit better later, but it was not an easy play today. So
yeah. We had a little bit more sell pressure today. I mean, we
yeah,
saw the overbought portions start to move down. Even Alphabet, I was long Alphabet at about 282. I had to handle that $2 move to 280, and it still worked out as a positive position, but the volatility is higher. So,
yeah,
you can't nail bottoms the same way as you do normally. You have to be a little bit more flexible. But
yeah.
yeah, you just got to pick your poison too, because I could have been completely offsides if it kept selling. So I just figured they'd hold it a little closer to the 290 areas before moving it down further. All right, well, we're a mere 30 seconds away from the expected release of Apple's earnings. So
Yeah.
feel
Let's
free
see.
to circle back and see if we can get those numbers out and distributed shortly.
Let's see how we do here. All right, friends, if you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up on YouTube. Really appreciate it. It does help out the channel and the streams a lot. Wow. That was instant. Boom.
Yeah,
On
that was
time.
fast.
Yeah, it was fast. Man, oh man. Oh, look at
Okay, we're
that.
shooting down. That was kind
Yeah.
of
Oh,
the
that's
back test scenario. Let's see if we can hold near our expected move. Getting a little initial reaction off of it.
it reminds us, Jared, expect the move on this
Yep,
is.
there we go.
It's
A little bit
about
of a move there.
9.5. So we
Yeah.
closed at about 272. I'm going to leave mine at 262.5.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, this is the old all-time high. It's the one that we
Wow.
broke back in 2020,
Yeah.
end of 2024, the old all-time high.
Yeah.
Pretty close to it.
That just it just goes to show you, all these people that were bidding the price of Apple up after Amazon released their earnings. It's just a gamble.
Yeah, man.
It can be
So,
challenging, that's for sure.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
tough.
'Cause
All those people that bought 272, 273.
Yeah.
All right. Well, beating expectation. We had 185 versus the 177 or 173, I should say. Revenue was just a slight beat, 102.47 versus 102 or 101.33, depending on which estimate you want to go with. But again, slight beat on the top and bottom line. Obviously, market was looking for more, a better beat, because Apple had run up quite a bit into this earnings report. So
Yeah.
again, just goes to show it's always a gamble. Even if you knew those numbers and you knew they were going to beat, you wouldn't have you maybe wouldn't have anticipated a sell-off on a beating top and bottom line. But
I will
the
say,
Qs and SPY are responding appropriately. They're dropped and then popped back up.
yeah, so I wouldn't say this is inherently bearish yet. I would say that it's, relationally
Yeah,
bearish because if we're shorting
yeah,
from the
it's not.
session range, we're obviously in profit. But I think to the bigger structure of the chart and a lot of the concepts that are kind of about whether we can hold ranges, um, you know, right now I don't see a breakdown. I just see a back test. And back tests are
Yeah,
tricky because they look bearish in the short term, but can easily be turned. So,
yeah. I mean, the stock is definitely not getting taken to the woodshed. It's
mhm,
uh, it's basically markets looking at this, thinking, yeah, that's pretty much pretty much in line. A little bit of a beat, but it didn't blow the cover off the ball
right,
like Amazon did.
exactly.
So it's reacting accordingly.
Yeah, this market spoiled. Needs to beat and blow things out for it to move up,
To
right? So
move. Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, all these stocks have moved up so much. There's so much baked
yeah.
in to the numbers here. So much, and expectations for positive outcomes. I
Hmm.
mean, Apple's PE is at 41. That's pretty rich. Even the forward PE at 34 is still pretty rich.
Yeah.
So again, pretty fairly priced, or very sort of richly priced, and
Yeah.
historically anyway,
If it
on a
continues to
PE
hold here, we
basis.
might be waking up to a whole different story a little bit later because their forward
Yeah,
guidance, given how their phone sales have been doing, might be enough to keep this close to where it's at. So let's
yeah,
see how that looks at the call. But yeah, you're right, Jared. Initial drop, and it's it's holding back up
I
here.
mean,
Um,
if I'm being upfront, that's one of my more preferred earnings trades where it comes into the expected move first, and then there's some sort of initial like bounce off of it.
yeah.
Usually because the stop loss is a lot easier to define. You can
Hmm.
typically put it right under the 1 minute candle, sort of the range low, or you can give it a little bit of room if you have something that's more psychologically impactful, like the previous all-time high. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of nice to see that it's maybe like a at most a $2 stop, maybe a $2.50 stop for the
Hmm.
potential to make what is essentially, like you're saying, a turnaround. Who's to
Yeah.
say that the stock is going to move any lower at this point? It might actually turn. So,
Yeah.
but you get a bounce, you get to kind of de-risk and you get to manage the position a little easier. So, well, one of my preferred earnings plays.
Yeah.
all right.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to call it a day, and we'll see you in the morning.
Yeah, friends, we'll
That
wrap it up
have
here.
sounds like
have
a plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
have a good one, everyone.
Yep. Guys on YouTube, take care. Hit that thumbs
You-
up. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you all tomorrow, 8 a.m. in the chat room with Engineering the Markets. Actually, tomorrow's Friday. So you are
Yeah.
Tomorrow's
off.
Friday.
That's I can tell
Today.
when the week is ending. I go in and Jared's not on. I'm like, oh, it's Friday. Okay.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
Friends, take care. We'll see you at 8:30. Engineer with pre-market show. Take care, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Later, y'all.